So yes, just wanted to let you know, that's why we were late. And we are recording live now. Okay. So at this point in time, we can stand up for a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you can remain standing for a moment of silence for Upper Darby retired Sergeant Harold Parsons for prisoners of war and missing in action, and anyone else that has been lost. Thank you. Yeah, is it like a good? All right, okay. No? So, roll call. Meeting is open.
Councilor Timmons,
Here.
Councilor Phillips is here, Councilor Silver,
Here.
Councilor Blackwell. Present, Councilor Burke,
Present.
Councilor Siddiq.
Yes.
I apologize, I missed Councilor Point. Present. Sorry about that. Councilor Corradia. Here. Councilor Barnett,
Here.
Councilor Wagner,
Here.
Council President Wentz.
Here?
And alternate.
Yes, and Officer Bateman is here for our Sergeant of Arms. We also have Mayor Pepper, Solicitor Skilkenny and Richardson, CAO Rongioni, Municipal Clerk Cicchetti, sorry. And that is, and that's it. Oh, all right, just looking down on my list. So yeah, so that's everyone that's here tonight. And our treasurer is in the audience as a resident of our community. Watching from afar. Okay, so next up, we have rules of meeting decorum. Upper Darby Township Council and residents will maintain professional respect for each other. Council encourages free speech, however, civility is required, which would prohibit threats, profanity, scandalous, impertinent, and redundant comment, or any comment with discernible purpose of which is to disrupt or prevent the conduct of the business of the meeting. Also want to take note that if you feel the need to be standing and filming, we ask that you do it from that corner of the back of the audience section so that you're not invading in anyone's personal space. Due to COVID, we like to keep family pods together and not invade the space. So just wanted to clarify that. Great. So next up, we have public forum. Ms. Phillips, and we need to set our timer. So I have a 3-minute timer and your timer is what? 2. Okay, great.
And we have 2 presenters. Kyle McIntyre.
Kyle McIntyre, 1040 Drexel Ave. So really quickly, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but this upcoming Monday is National Coming Out Week. Well, it's actually, it is National Coming Out Week coming up. Monday is a National Coming Out Day. So on Sunday, UDTJ will be hosting a walk out. Essentially in downtown Upper Darby. We'll be meeting at the 69th Street Bridge. And we have a parade route designed around downtown will be on the sidewalk, so there won't be any need to affect any traffic patterns. But the main topic that I wanted to talk to council about tonight is about Fanta ability. If you don't know, Fanta was an 8-year-old girl who was attending a football game at Academy Park High School on the night of August 27th. An altercation broke out 1 block away, which resulted in gunfire and a car turning the corner. In response, 3 Sharon Hill police officers that were in attendance automatically opened fire into a crowd. 4 out of the 5 gunshot victims were struck by shots that were fired by the Sharon Hill police officers. Fanta was one of the victims and passed away due to the gunshot wounds. The negligence and incompetence that these 3 officers have demonstrated was quite sickening, disheartening, and merely unacceptable. Firing into a crowd with no designated target cost Fanta her life and other victims to be significantly injured. Mistakes like this cannot be happen. And to Fanta's family, we are so very sorry for your loss. We truly send our deepest condolences, prayers, and support to you all during this tough time. We stand by you and will do all and everything in our power to assist you. And after receiving the family's blessing, UDTJ and Delco Resist will begin organizing actions. On Sunday, October 17th, beginning at 1:30 p.m., we are asking everyone to join us as we demand change, answers, and justice for Fanta. In collaboration with Delco Resist, join us as we march silently for police accountability. We will be meeting at the Sharon Hill SEPTA trolley stop. And we will be marching to the Sharon Hill Police Department. Once again, this is October 17th, not this upcoming Sunday, the next Sunday at 1:30 p.m. And we ask all that are in attendance to please remain silent while we protest. We're going to let our bodies speak words. And we demand justice for these 3 officers. And we demand that they are removed from the force because of their negligence. Thank you.
Thank you.
President Lundy, I got a question. Tom, you said 69th Street, you didn't give a time,
Oh, I'm so sorry. 1 p.m.
1 p.m.? Thank you.
Mhm.
That's at the 69th Street Bridge, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Ed Brown.
Ed Brown, 7111 Pennsylvania Avenue, Upper Darby. There's several items on your agenda that interest the district, and I'm here as the school board president, along with 2 of my school board members, my vice president, Gina Curry, and Neil Desnoyers. And, on behalf of the district and the board, we look, there's a lot of overlap in what we do and what the township does. We serve the same constituents. So I just want to say we look forward to a continued partnership and collaboration and successful endeavors to benefit all of the residents and citizens of Upper Darby. Thanks.
Thank you. And that's it. Great, so next up, we have a presentation from Drexel Hill Middle School land development. Come on up.
Not sure the best place to put these so they're visible. Wheelchair, use the chair, okay. Or use my easy where it will fall down to the sitting up. Hello, my name is Hugh Cadzo. I'm a registered landscape architect with ELA Sport, ELA Group, and we're here on behalf of the school district tonight to present to you the Drexel Hill Middle School athletic facility plan, which what you have here before you is an aerial view of the campus to kind of orient everyone where it is. And to your right, my left, there is a rendering of the proposed athletic facility. Currently on the campus right now, there is an aged athletic facility, track, grass football field, existing concrete bleachers, and the school district is looking at upgrading both this facility as well as Beverly Hills, which is another submission where we're not discussing tonight, to upgrade them with all-weather running track, synthetic turf, and upgrade the site with a new grandstand. On the visual would be the home side with ADA access. Renovate the existing concrete bleachers and clean them up and get them in better condition than they are. Installation of field lights and then also of additional buffering and screening along the property line. So what we hear before you tonight is for conditional plan approval and a waiver of the preliminary plan process. We have been in conversation with Mike Galenti, Township engineer, reviewing the comments. Things that we see, we are either have submitted and addressed or in the process of working to resolve these with Mr. Galenti. There's nothing that's currently listed on the comments that we see as an issue that we cannot resolve on a timely basis. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I know you've had review letters. I don't know if there's any questions that the council may have of us or Mr. Galenti, who's here somewhere. Hi, Todd.
I'm the one who called it. Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Councilman
Thank you.
You look like you're written down.
I don't think we have a review letter, first of all, that I must have missed. And
Okay.
second of all, was there any meetings with the residents about the lights?
The school district is in the process of establishing meeting times with all the residents to go over. They currently right now have a lighting engineer on board to design the lights, and they provided the initial go-through, which is unsatisfactory. They're going to look at rerunning those, and I know the district staff couldn't be in attendance tonight, but they did want me to make a point that they're going to be scheduling meetings with all the residents as soon as possible.
So my question is, why would we be here without information from the residents coming to council for approval or, plans to show us that it's.
We're only
Neighbors don't
we're only having a presentation on this. We don't have anything to vote on it for tonight. So we
Because
don't have
Springfield had the problem with their lights for a long period of time.
Yeah, I understand that, yes.
We're gonna have the land development in time for next meeting. We do not have we're not voting on anything today. We haven't received anything yet as council. We're just, because you were available for this presentation this evening, they wanted to get the ball rolling by informing us about it in our committee meeting so that when we got the land development, we had that background. Okay.
I would like to be invited to the meetings with the residents about the lighting and especially have some feedback before we reach back to council.
Understood.
That's okay.
Oh, yeah, understood.
Madam President.
Yes, Councilman.
Thank you. Madam President, did you say that we will have this on the agenda in 2 weeks?
That's my understanding.
I understand there'll be a resolution, right? That's the council wants to do.
Yeah, but, okay. And the question for the presenters, will that public meeting occur between now and 2 weeks from now?
I unfortunately cannot answer that right at the moment. I will check with the school
Because
district.
I think that's very important. I think I agree with Councilman Burke that we certainly have the opportunity to hear from the community about their opinion particularly with regard to the lights. I certainly don't have any objection to the improvement, but I think lights are always a concern. And you can see by the board to the left, the presentation board to the left, how close the track and football field is to the residences. So I think it's very, very important. As I said, I concur with Councilman Burke's concerns that we hear from the community before we take any action. And I think we should consider that, Madam President, for when we list this on the agenda.
Okay, definitely. Can you, one second, Councilman Wagner, is it possible to just show those to the audience?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could do
They can't see. Councilman Wagner?
Thank you very much. Just briefly, I want to not only agree and echo with what Mr. Burke and Mr. Bonnet just said, but more than seeing to it that these public meetings occur, I think it's important for at least the affected council members in their districts to be involved in setting those meetings. With all due respect, I say this with no intention to be sarcastic. I'm not a big fan of the school district's record in holding public meetings in advance of very important projects. And I think it's extremely important that this council be involved in organizing those meetings, or at least in knowing and contributing to when they will be scheduled, because this is the sort of thing that absolutely needs extensive public input and discussion before our council's asked to vote on it.
Okay.
Councilman Quinn?
I'd also like to recommend that when you do have these items together, if you can send electronic versions of the items so we can share it among the council members and see that there is. Thank you.
Yes, wait, Mr. Galante, are you here?
Yes.
Can you,
Yeah, I just want to add a couple notes about the project and how it got to this point. So the project was submitted early on. We began reviewing with L&I for some preliminary meetings. One of the topics that did come up was lighting. The project did go in front of the Delaware County Planning Commission. They also made similar comments about lighting, about regulating the times of use, the certain times of the night that it could be used, certain times of the week. That's something that can all be coordinated and make sure that goes into the record so we can hold them accountable for the times that the lights are actually utilized. Some of the other items in our ordinance, we don't allow for glare onto residential properties. So that's why Kenzo from the ELA, they actually had another engineer working on, he's filling in. When he talked about a lighting engineer, they're actually working on providing a design plan that shows no glare on adjacent residential properties. So there's some of the items that we worked on. And also, I'd like to note that it did go in front of the planning committee where we discussed the project and we did a full review. And there are similar lighting comments that were brought up this evening. And ultimately, the school district will have to, any approval they get approved on will be conditional upon satisfying the comments.
wait. So Councilman Burke and then Quinn and then, and sorry. Okay, wait, but before we repeat you guys, is there anyone who hasn't already asked a question, have a question? Councilman Silva?
Sure. I just want to say, I mean, having seen the condition of the field in the past, I do think that it will be like a nice improvement. It's my understanding. It's a pretty muddy field. It would be nice for it to be all weather before we go back to, but that's all I have to say. But thank you.
Michael?
And the field will be used for everybody, not just for the students. It will be used after hours as well, or if we don't know.
District on that, I would think, I'm not sure what the current usage is at the facility, but I would think, we can get that answered.
Well, since we do have members of the school board here, is there anyone who wanted to comment on the discussion? You guys are here.
We do have a usage of facilities, system called Facilitron for reservation of all of our facilities, including field. I'm not sure how that one's going to be handled yet. I think that's still being decided. We spend a lot of money on fields, and we want to make sure they're maintained. So, there will be provisions for how it's going to be utilized by the public and rules that go into that. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Gina Curry, Vice President of the School Board. I do believe that the facility will also be open to walkers in the community because of the condition of the field. And I would just ask while I'm standing here, it's really hard to hear you all through the mask. If you could just really project. I couldn't hear what Councilman Quinn said at all. And I knew it was an important question to the engineer. So it's really hard to hear in the audience.
It's not coming through the mics that strong back
Yeah,
here.
thank you.
Okay, so be closer to your mics and speak louder. Make sure your mic is on.
Thank you
Okay,
for answering my question.
Okay. Yep. Councilman Tunis?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. Like Councilman Silva's said, I think it's a great plan. I think it will add value, especially with Beverly Hills, Jacksonville having these plans. It will be a great way for the school district to gain some revenue through ground space, us having more turf fields happening in the district. Is there, will pavement, like what kind of pavement, do you guys know, if you decided to what kind of pavement you'd be using on the property?
The walkways around the track will be bituminous, about a 10-foot width on the walkways. And that's, sufficient width in order to get multiple people, the projected numbers at the facility right now. And I know there's an addition of a couple ADA spaces out in the back, where currently there's some limited, that some of those have been added. And my understanding, the walkway to it is designed for that. The synthetic turf itself, the way these synthetic turf fields are designed is it's compiles of a system. Essentially, the synthetic turf on top is like a rug, theoretically. And it's a stone sub-base to it, usually about 6 inches thick. And normally what you have in it is below the field, there'll be a stone or pipe structure for storage of stormwater. Because you do pretty much, it's all self-contained. And if you take a look at the amount of areas of limited disturbance for the site, the topsoil that will be removed on the field will be actually used to renovate other fields at the campus. So it's not just that stadium field. We're actually going to look at renovating some of the other fields to get them a little more safer in playing shape for the students and the community.
Okay. Who hasn't spoken yet?
Can I have a question for Mr. Brown about the Philotron that he was talking about?
School director or President Brown, can you?
So you guys were talking about the Philotron where you have to go in and then you book your stuff on there. Well, I did that for Westbrook Park and I'm being charged $115,000 to book that gym. Like, are these fees right? They want a down payment of $28,000.
It's a setting.
That's the site that I went on to go book it, and that was the price that they gave me. So I did call, and I'm waiting to hear back from.
It sounds like that's an error. It's kind of like sorry.
I don't want to get into all this. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, is that like maybe that site needs to be corrected somehow.
Wait. Hold on. President Brown, can you come up to the podium? I don't like back and forth with the audience, that kind of breaks our rules. Thank you.
Yeah, the site is fine. I mean, I've actually used it to book things and I haven't seen that issue. So that sounds like an anomaly. I'll certainly ask about that and find out, but it doesn't sound.
Right here, it came back in my email. Are you kidding me?
I'll look, I mean, I'll look. I don't think that's the exact cost, but I will look and, find out.
All right, thank you.
Yep, no problem. Thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure he had a clear conversation, that we're not having a conversation with members in the audience, that's all.
Right, so
Not yet. Is there anyone else who has already spoken that wanted to speak? No, okay. So our list is Councilman Burke.
President Weiss. I'm all in favor for the plan. It's probably one of the worst tracks around. But what is the completion date or looking for the completion date of this project?
I think normally athletic facilities are constructed in the summer months because obviously no students are there and the people who do the work, that's, they will probably look at, hopefully something normally. I mean, there's a lot of things to work out yet, but normally like a May start and with the intent of finishing in time before the fall sports is the normal schedule. That's kind of the goal for now. But the school has to go through funding and everything else for that, but that's normally would be the schedule.
Is this the same track as the high school?
It's similar. No, the type of track
Yes.
or, no, it's not the same track surface. It's a different track surface. I mean, color wise and everything.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have Councilman Quinn.
my question is for Mike Galante.
Okay, Mike Galante, come back up.
Mike, you said that this had gone before the
Get
planning.
closer to your mic.
You had said this had gone before the planning committee.
This has. Can you repeat that again?
What planning committee did this go before?
This is actually soon to be, I guess, a planning commission now. But the planning committee that is headed up by Debbie Nifong, and there's about 4 or 5 members
The
and
Upper Darby one.
Upper Darby
Turning-
Planning
that's
Committee.
turning
Yeah,
into an
yeah,
Upper Darby Commission
yes.
that has turned into, but.
I'm sorry. Yeah, if that's what you're looking for, I apologize.
Because we have our planning, zoning, and building code, and I haven't seen it. It's part of the question.
So the question is, when can the plans get to the council zoning?
I could send them to Alexis,
That would be
right
wonderful.
away.
Thank you. Okay. All right, so next up, we have Councilman Bennett.
Thank you. Again, for Mr. Galante, please.
Sure.
Yes. The presenter covered one of these points, or he alluded to it at least, that there's going to be stormwater management facilities underneath
Yes.
the artificial turf. I assume we will go through a routine review process for stormwater management.
We did review the plan for stormwater management. We did generate some comments. One of the things that we held them to a stricter standard as we made sure that they didn't account for any infiltration rate going through the turf field, so they don't get any credit for that. And that the turf field is actually a CN value of 98.
Right.
So it's a stricter, criteria.
Right. And the same way with the track surface, I assume.
The track surface would also be CN value of 98.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Great. Next up, we have Councilman Wagner.
Thank you, gentlemen. How about security for nighttime events? Was that included at all in the presentations made to the planning commission or to anybody else?
The facility is going to be fenced in. As to actual security protocols, I have to defer to the school district. But there will be, enclosures. Normally with a synthetic turf field and track, due to the investment you place in that, you have a level of security on the complex that is not, not quite as open. But for actual security operational procedures, I must defer to the school district.
Okay, I appreciate it. Maybe in your comments back, you could just tell them, at least this member of council was concerned about that. Obviously, there's nighttime events planned there, which I agree with everybody else, is a good thing, not a bad thing, but security is going to be real important.
Understood, sir.
Great. Thank you. Councilman Tunis, you're next.
I was just trying to remind Councilman Rowley, that I've used this electron had a similar experience, but it was an error on my part. I'll just trying to help her out with it. I thought it would be beneficial for her.
Thank you.
But I'll connect with you on an individual basis.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions or concerns for presenter?
If you have the money, you can spend me.
Okay, thank you. CAO, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to say broadly that the school district has a robust capital improvement plan that the administration is broadly in favor of and supportive of. And as evidenced by Mr. Galante's mastery of the plan and ability to answer these questions, we have been involved in many meetings at many levels with the school district and their planners, including the mayor's new planning commission, as well as the Delaware County Planning Commission. It's also just important to note, and it's obviously the school district's decision about when they have public meetings about their project, so I don't want to overstep, but this project has been the subject of many public school board committee meetings, including most recently the September public meeting of the school board. So those meetings are, of course, open to anyone who wants to learn more about this project directly from the board and the school district administration, because the school district administration is in the best position to answer the particulars. I mean, I appreciate Mr. Galante and their engineer trying to answer them, but those public committee meetings are really a great forum to ask questions about these projects. So I just wanted to add. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, thank you so much for your presentation. Thank you for coming here this evening. Thank you, Michael Galante, and school directors, President Brown and Vice President Curry for sharing your information and knowledge on this subject. And I hope we get louder. If you find that we are quieter, please give us a little signal of, turn up the volume. That'd be great. Can you please spell your last name, sir?
Oh, C-A, D as in David, Z as in zebra, O. Scottish, believe it or not.
Okay, so next up, we have the Honorable Mayor Barbara Ann Kepper. Good evening, everyone. This past Saturday, we held the 4th annual Upper Darby International Festival right in front of the Township building at the 5 Points intersection. It was great to see so many of our council people out there, school board members, and there was a ton of people there. We had a beautiful day. The weather was great. We had over 50 vendors. And I'd like to give a special shout out to the community YMCA for organizing and hosting the Kids Zone. We're estimating that about 3,000 people went. And, we just hope to improve this event every year going forward. The parking lot across the street, the municipal lot, I think this is about 80% done. It looks really good. And I want to thank our main sponsors, which were Aqua and Xfinity, and the Friends of the Tower Theater District played a big role in fundraising for the event. We had a beautiful stage. Performances were great. Councilman Huffy's did a fantastic job as DJ, and it was fun. Yeah, it was entertaining, right? So this Saturday, October 9th, we're having our next identity theft protection event. It's going to be at the high school at 601 North Lansdowne Avenue from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. We will be accepting paper items for shredding with a limit of 2 boxes per vehicle. We will also accept electronic waste such as old laptops, cell phones, and small electronics. Please note that televisions will not be accepted at this event. The Delaware County District Attorney's drug take-back van will also be on site to collect unused prescription drugs. This month is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and just I have to remind myself as well to get a mammogram. Everybody, we all have mothers, sisters, daughters, aunts, and family, friends. It's important now, but we're very consumed with, masking up and all that, and with COVID still. but it's good to just to have a gentle reminder to take care of yourself, right? And to get your regular screenings, not just for breast cancer, but for other forms and to get your yearly physical as well. And as one of our residents pointed out, this upcoming week is also National Coming Out Week. And tonight I have two proclamations. The first is in honor of Fire Prevention Week, which began this past Sunday and continues to this Saturday. Whereas fire is a serious public safety concern, both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk of fire. And whereas smoke alarms detect smoke and carbon monoxide before people can, alerting the danger in the event of fire. Smoke alarms that work properly cut the risk of dying in reported home fires in half. And whereas the 2021 Fire Prevention Week theme, Learn the Sounds of Fire Safety, effectively serves to remind us it is important to learn the different sounds of smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. And whereas Upper Darby Township is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those who are living in and visiting our community. Our residents should be sure that everyone in the home understands the sounds of smoke and carbon monoxide alarms and knows how to respond to them. And whereas the first responders in Upper Darby and Delaware County are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. Whereas Upper Darby residents who are responsive to public education measures are better able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. Now therefore, I, Barbara Ann Kemper, Mayor of Upper Darby, do hereby proclaim October 3rd to October 9th, 2021 as Fire Prevention Week in Upper Darby. And I encourage the entire community to learn the sounds of fire safety for Fire Prevention Week 2021 and to support the many public safety activities and efforts of the Upper Darby Fire and Emergency Services. So the fire department had an event this past Friday night at the Observatory Field. They had a cookout, and then today they had a home fire drill, these are great new events for this week. The second proclamation this evening is in recognition of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, which is observed during the entire month of October. Whereas domestic violence is a pervasive issue across Upper Darby, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, the United States, and the entire world, with implications for personal and community health. And whereas domestic violence does not discriminate and affects all communities, regardless of age, race, disability, gender identity, and socioeconomic status. And whereas considering medical expenses, lost productivity, legal costs, property loss and damage, domestic violence costs victims nearly $82,000 over their lifetime and collectively costs the United States $3.6 trillion. And whereas research shows that by creating communities where people are connected, supportive, and care for one another can reduce incidents of domestic violence. And whereas in Upper Darby, individuals and organizations play a part in supporting people impacted by domestic violence, providing services including therapeutic, legal, educational, housing, advocacy, and medical services. The Upper Darby Police Department is committed to shaping their practices to further support victims of domestic abuse and to limit its effect on our community. Now therefore, I, Barbara A. Kemper, Mayor of Upper Darby, do hereby proclaim October 2021 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I urge all residents to become involved in efforts to prevent and respond to domestic violence and to recognize the impact of domestic violence in our community. And there's just one thing I forgot to mention. At the International Festival, we're able to sort of roll out our new logo and our motto, which is Upper Darby, the world in one place. And we have a bunch of these masks, and some people are wearing them now, but we'll have them available at other events as they come up too. So we're really happy with it. We think that the motto especially epitomizes everything that's great about our community. And yeah, that's it for my monthly message. But now I have another one. I have to take a little water break here. Arch, water break, everybody. So a couple days ago on Sunday, members of council received this message and also a preliminary line item budget. So I'm going to read it, so for the record. We are approaching the end of my second year. We have returned to in-person meetings for council and our boards and commissions. We have made modifications to municipal buildings to make them safer in the wake of COVID and for the personal safety of our employees and the public. We still live and work with the impact of the pandemic and the ensuing Delta variant. Their effects felt through all of our departments, be it increased costs of materials and fuel, elongated delivery times, or decreased revenues. Gladly and recently, we've hosted 2 outstanding in-person community engagement events. The pop-up skate park 2 weeks ago at Observatory Playground, coordinating with the Delco Skate Park Coalition and return to the International Festival in conjunction with the Friends of the Tower Theater District. This summer, we were able to offer a full and fully funded summer stage program with COVID precautions in place. We continue to focus on building partnerships with public and private entities like the YMCA, SEPTA, Friends of the Tower Theater District, the Upper Darby School District, and the Tree Tenders Upper Darby, and many others, which enhances our programming, helps to spur economic development and improve our neighborhoods and business districts. Our annual budget is an opportunity to showcase the priorities that will set us on a path to becoming the very best version of Upper Darby that we can become together. Those priorities remain reinvestment, revitalization, and reform. These 3 objectives are intertwined as we build the future of Upper Darby. Historically, Upper Darby has not pursued and or received our fair share of state and federal grant money when compared with our peer communities such as Scranton, Reading, and Lancaster. A retooled and more aggressive grant writing program spearheaded by the CAO's office and implemented across all departments, working closely with our elected officials in Harrisburg and Washington, has continued to bear fruit. Some of the awards we received in 2021 are the RACP for $1 million, which goes towards the new community center, demolition and site work, $75,000 for life-saving and officer protecting body cameras, the $100,000 Revitalize grant for the stream bank restoration at Gillespie Park, which that's going to happen on the 16th. That's a Saturday. We need volunteers. If anybody wants to pitch in and plant some trees, that would be great. We also received a Pico Green Region grant to support the Chapman Park to Marshall Road multi-use and bike trail. $425,000 from the Commonwealth Financing Authority for pedestrian improvements on Market and Powell Lane. And just recently, we learned that we are receiving $735,000 for 6 brand new cleaner energy trash trucks. In addition, we have new programming initiatives to help spur development and improve public safety. The vacant property registration program will help combat blight, while the Upper Darby Planning Commission will guarantee community input at an early stage in the land development process and into a future zoning code. The new fire code inspection program and the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development Management study of our combination career and part-time fire department will reduce community risk and improve response times and overall operations. Soon we will be rolling out our new website and completing the transition from the AS400 system to a modern software system that increases efficiency across departments and will allow online tax and fee payment. The parking department now offers a phone app payment option at our meters and soon will offer electric vehicle charging stations across the street at the municipal lot number 1. We are at the preliminary stage of the budget season. This year's budget continues to address the more than $6 million in structural deficits we inherited and worked hard to balance last year with no increase in taxes or fees. Once again, We do not anticipate the need to increase taxes in order to deliver a balanced budget for 2022. Unfortunately, though, the nature of the structural deficit is that it recurs annually until the underlying cause or causes are addressed. In our case, the trash and sewer fees, which do not currently cover the real cost of sanitation and sewage disposal and treatment, continue to create serious budget challenges. Additionally, we inherited a budget where more than 7.5 of every $10 are already committed to staff salaries and benefits that are subject to contractually mandated annual increases. These factors, when taken with the rising cost of fees from the sewer and solid waste authorities, create serious challenges. One major step we have taken is working with Aqua. We plan to institute a more fair and equitable usage-based sewer fee system. This will not only help address the structural deficit, it will ease the burden placed on seniors and others by the flat rate fees. Bills will be issued quarterly, and you would only pay for what you actually use. Unlike now, when a family of 5 or 4 like mine, where a business is paying the same fee as a single person or senior citizen living on a fixed income. Many municipalities in the county already use the system. This year, I plan to introduce a trash fee rebate program for seniors and other residents who also qualify for the state's property tax rebate. We will be working closely with our state representatives to ensure that all eligible residents receive this rebate. In order to offer this important and well-deserved rebate and to address the sanitation shortfall in a responsible way, we do anticipate a trash fee increase of less than $4 per month. I don't usually talk this much in a meeting anyway, and it's much easier to write these things than to perform them, I suppose. Over the next few years, we will work to further address the structural deficits. Administratively, we have implemented measures to cut costs in sewer and sanitation fees. Our recycling costs have been lowered by 30% by negotiating a new contract with a new hauler. We instituted a weekly yard waste collection this year, which diverts these materials from the trash stream. I encourage our residents to continue to keep plastic bags out of recycling bins and to participate in our yard waste collection. Working with council, we instituted a sewer lateral inspection ordinance, which benefits new homeowners and will cut down on the infiltration and inflow, which get measured for and for which property owners pay. The roofs on the Township building and the Watkins Center will soon be replaced, and they will both have solar panels, which will cut our electric costs. Measures such as these are just the beginning of our comprehensive plan to put Upper Darby on a more prosperous and financially sustainable course for the future. Upper Darby has received American Rescue Plan money, as have most municipalities, to cover lost revenue due to COVID and to fund qualified projects, mostly in the area of infrastructure. This ARP money cannot be used to cut taxes or to temporarily offset other similar recurring expenses. Its primary purpose is to keep the economy moving by offsetting lost revenues due to the pandemic, and it is important to note that the spending through this plan will be closely audited by the federal government. We do expect that a significant part of the funds will be used to address our revenue losses. In our operating budget, in addition to the structural salary increases that are part of our contractual obligations to the 4 unions, which form the bulk of our staff, we also have a pension and post-employment health care mandates that are among the most expensive in the state. The 2022 budget reflects my commitment to continue a clear, accountable system that addresses long-standing structural deficits and builds the future of a vibrant Upper Darby. At the end of the process, we will once again deliver a line item budget to create transparency. As another part of our ongoing effort to bring more transparency to the Upper Darby taxpayers, we are building on our already strong working relationship with the school district to untangle our balance sheets while still providing exceptional services and education to our shared populations. One major piece in this puzzle is that we are looking to collect, as nearly every other municipality in the state does, half of the realty transfer taxes. While this will bring us more in line with how things are done in most other communities, it will not nearly address all of our budget issues, and it is simply one part of a complex financial relationship. As further evidence of our strong collaboration with the school district and our shared commitment to Upper Darby's future, we are continuing our strong support of their capital facilities improvement program, which will enhance our children's education and benefit our entire community for decades to come. The operating budget reflects our commitment to reinvest in our workforce with paid professional development, in-house promotion opportunities, and a retooled human resources division. We hired 19 new police officers this year, the most qualified and most diverse cohort in Upper Darby history. And we're on track to make significant progress in our fire department early next year. For the first time in our history, we have also hired a director of community and economic development who brings a vast array of professional experience to help us grow and promote our commercial tax base, business community, and the nonprofit sector. Our public spaces have also seen a significant focus and investment. A park system master plan, sidewalk ADA accessibility, a multi-municipal bike lane and trail study, improved and modernized parking lots, vibrant streetscapes, increased litter control, and a street sweeping program demonstrate my administration's commitment to reinvest in and revitalize our community. The time is now for transit-connected, walkable, inner-ring suburbs such as ours to reclaim our rightful place as the most desired location for growing families and businesses to live, work, and play. At our next meeting, our CIO, Vince Mangione, will present the preliminary budget, and we look forward to discussion with council and our taxpayers. Thank you. Thank you. We have a resolution. We have a resolution. Would you like to talk? Okay. Keep talking. It's a little bit longer. A little longer. I'm almost there. So last month, council voted to create the planning commission, and this resolution will be explained by Courtney Richardson. And this is the next step in creating the commission. Go ahead.
Thank you, Council President Wentz. This is a resolution of Upper Darby Township, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, appointing members to the Upper Darby Planning Commission, repealing all inconsistent resolutions or parts thereof, providing a severability clause, and providing an effective date. Whereas Ordinance 3101 created the Upper Darby Planning Commission under the provisions of the Pennsylvania Municipality Planning Code. Whereas the commission shall consist of 5-member board with 2 alternates, all of whom shall be residents of Upper Darby Township. Whereas the members of the planning commission shall be appointed by the mayor with the approval of 6 council members of council by resolution, which shall also state the term to be filled by each planning commissioner. Now therefore be it and hereby resolved by the Upper Darby Township Council and is hereby adopted by the majority of the same as follows. James Mullen is appointed for a term expiring December 31st, 2022. Steve Bertil is appointed for a term expiring December 31st, 2023. Jeffrey Broken is appointed for a term expiring December 31st, 2024. Cassandra Hayes is appointed for a term expiring December 31st, 2025. And Debbie Nyfong is appointed for a term expiring December 31st, 2026. So it's reading. There's a repealer clause, a servability is effective immediately. So it's reading.
Great, thank you. Since this is the first time this resolution has come before us, is there any questions? Is there any general committee meeting related conversation you want to have on it before we move it towards a vote? Seeing none, then can we get a motion to approve resolution 48-21?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
When, and then I heard Blackwell and Chinnis. Okay, are there any questions or concerns? Councilman Bennett?
Thank you.
Mhm.
I will be voting against these appointments, but I want to make it very clear, it's not to disparage the ability of any of these individuals to serve as a planning commissioner. It's more my objection to the fact that we are establishing a planning commission, which as everybody I think recalls, that I voted in opposition to at our last meeting. And that further, that I do so because it's a layer of government we do not need. We've operated effectively without it. Ultimately, any action taken by this committee, this commission that will be established, could just as well have been done by the planning committee that already exists. But as we do set up this planning commission, it will certainly have expenses, operating expenses. We'll have its own solicitor, which will be a significant expense to the taxpayer, which I believe we do not need, thus I voted against it. And thus, again, I will vote against these appointments. But again, I would emphasize not to disparage in any way the capability of these people to serve.
Okay, thank you. Solicitor Kenny?
Obviously, Councilor Bennett is free to express his opinion. I want to be clear, the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code does say that the township or the borough or the municipal solicitor serves as solicitor planning commission. So I would view it, that would be under our retainer that would serve as council planning commission. If they wanted to petition the mayor or council in the future, if they wanted their own solicitor, that's fine. But in most of the other 18 municipalities where my firm serves as solicitor, we also serve as solicitor at the planning commission. Here it would be at no additional cost.
Madam Solicitor,
Thank you for that clarification.
Madam, can I continue with my comment?
Oh,
On
I'm
that?
sorry, I thought you were finished.
No, I just want to respond to Solicitor Kilkennedy, and I appreciate that, but I do have to recognize that in the proposed budget, as it was last year, our legal expenses are more than double they have been in prior years. So collectively, it will filter down as an expense to our operating the planning commission.
Maybe, Councilman Burke?
Is that correct or not correct?
It's right there in the budget.
Okay, I'm looking for a response from the solicitor.
I don't think it's correct.
Well, I'm looking for an answer. That's all.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, so there will be a full presentation on the budget. The solicitor line item encompasses a number of legal functions outside of what Kilkenny law provides, the zoning solicitor and the labor and employment solicitor. And we've had this sort of question from the public before. The solicitor is here to provide legal advice to the council and the mayor, not to answer questions about the budget.
Person wants us to believe we got an answer. Is there a solicitor or not?
I think that these questions specific to the budget, because we haven't had the full budget presentation yet, would be more appropriate when we do.
I believe we're talking about the motion in the second. And the question on the floor, is there a fee to this, to approve this or not to approve it? I believe the question on the floor is there a cost? Am I right or wrong? Is there an extra cost, yes or no? Because right now, we don't have an answer.
No, I'm sorry. The only thing I said is it would be covered under my retainer.
Yeah.
And I have not asked for an increase in my retainer, so there would be no additional cost. Thank you.
For the solicitors, right? Yes.
If we're fine, we're fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Bennett, since you haven't actually, we've gone, let me go around to some other people first before I go back to you. Okay? Councilman Tunis, if you want to speak?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, tonight, the resolution before us is we're discussing the appointments, right? So the board, how we feel about that, relevant. I think these are qualified candidates, as you've seen. per the resume that Alexis was able to send to us, I think it will be great for us to appoint these guys tonight. I would ask if we could, I could move the question.
Okay, so you want to make a motion to move the question?
Yes.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so. Okay, so motion to move question. Made by Tunis and seconded by Lynn and Silva. Okay, for moving the question forward, please signify, if you support with moving the question forward and not having further discussion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say your name.
Don Barnett.
Okay, so it is going to move forward. So going back to the resolution 4821, all those in favor, please
Was there a
signify.
motion second?
Yes, yep, yes. Swin and Blackwell was seconded. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say your name.
No, Tom Wagner.
Brian Burke. No.
Wagner
Don Barnett.
and Burke. So I have Councilman Burke, Barnett, and Wagner as notes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Great.
Right.
Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Thank you. So the resolution passes. Great, thank you. Okay, so Mayor Trevor, did you have anything else? No, thank you. Okay, great. Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. Wonderful. So next up is actually President of Council. I just want to clarify for everyone a little bit of our upcoming schedule. We are having a presentation on the budget on October 20th, as the mayor just said. We are also having our budget hearings on November 10th and 17th at 6 p.m. And then then we'll have our committee meeting on the 10th. This is a slight change from the normal of having it the first Wednesday of the month. The election day is the day before, so in case people are working the election, just want to give everyone the day off the day after. So we moved our November committee meeting to November 10th. And that'll take place after the budget meeting when that concludes. If it concludes after 7 p.m., then we will be rolling right into the committee meeting. If the budget hearing ends before 7 p.m., then our council committee meeting will begin at 7 p.m. Same thing for November 17th, where we have the council meeting. The budget hearing will start at 6 p.m. If it runs late, our council meeting will begin after it ends, or it will begin right at 7 p.m. And also on the 17th is when we will be voting on the budget as well. So just wanted to clarify that information for you. And also wanted to let you know that Archer Epler, VFW American Legion Post 976 is having a ceremony to honor the flags of veterans that lived in Upper Darby that have passed away. And they're already flying along Marshall Road. And that'll take place at 6 p.m. At Archer Epler on Marshall Road. So just wanted to let you know that's happening next Wednesday on October 13th. And they would love for all of council to join up as well. So that's formal invite was coming out very shortly. 6 p.m. on October 13th at Archer Epler. It's going to be an outside event. Okay, great. So that's, and I just wanted to thank everyone who came out to any and all the events that happened around the township. I just want to congratulate the Upper Darby Council Events Planning Committee for having such a successful job fair yesterday. I think it went really well. So thank you all for participating. And I think people found some jobs, so that was really important. And there were a lot of great events. I know the National Festival, of course, was quite a hit. The Wawa,
Event on October 1st.
October the 1st, right, for firefighters at Observatory Field. And then there's a lot more to come in the future. So you can also check out on Upper Darby Township Council Facebook page. That's where we post a lot of the events that are coming up. So please follow us. All right, great. So next up, we have committee reports. Finance and Appropriations Committee co-chairs Quinn, Junior, and Silva. Members Blackwell and Burke. We have resolution 46-21. Solicitors, take it away.
Thank you, Council President Wentz. This is the minimum municipal obligation, which CAO expressed a few meetings ago. This is the formal resolution. This is a resolution of Upper Darby Township, Delaware County, acknowledging the funding requirements for the Upper Darby Township Police Pension Plan, Firefighters Pension Plan, and Municipal Employee Pension Plan. Making provisions for payments of these costs as part of the Upper Darby Township budget for fiscal year 2022, repealing all inconsistent resolutions or parts thereof, providing a severability clause, and providing an effective date. Pennsylvania's Act 205 of 1984 created the minimum municipal obligation, a statutorily mandated actuarial funding standard for pension obligations, which the township is required to calculate and pay every year. Now therefore be it resolved by the Upper Darby Township Council that the minimum municipal obligation for the 2022 police, fire, and municipal employees pension plans shall be budgeted in fiscal year 2022 as follows. Upper Darby Police Pension Plan, $3,492,143. Upper Darby Firefighters Pension Plan, $2,101,841. Upper Darby Municipal Employees Pension Plan, $912,642. There's the pillar cost of ability and it's effective immediately. Soliciting. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Are there any discussion that would like to take place on this resolution before we go for official? Councilman Wagner?
I'm just curious to know why we're doing this tonight instead of after the budget presentation, when we all might understand it a little better.
CAO?
Yeah, so we're statutorily required to read it into the record, and also the payments are statutorily required. So we don't have flexibility with the amounts. So you're certainly correct that you'll understand them in more context with the full presentation, but these particular numbers can't really change.
And these are the minimum that we can pay this year, and it's not future obligations, optional, et cetera, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And to be clear, I mean, I suppose some municipalities do occasionally not make their payment, but that's very bad.
No, I get it, but what you're telling us is that this is what we got to do, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Any other? Councilman Bennett?
Thank you, Madam President. Again, for Mr. Mangione, I understand what you've said in terms of we have to do these things, this thing. Do we have to do it tonight? Can we wait until the budget presentation is made?
I don't believe so, no. I mean, that question is a little bit more for the solicitors, but that's the reason that I read them into the record previously, because there is a statutory deadline. Yeah.
Yes, and I believe the statutory deadline is the end of this month. I believe I'll be honest with you, every municipality I've represented is doing the same thing, passing a resolution, doing this.
But again, we don't have to do it tonight, is that correct?
No, I think he's saying.
I'm saying that I recommend you do it. You could schedule a special meeting or another meeting to do it. I believe this is on the agenda. and
But you're saying it has to be done before the end of this month.
I don't know. I was just saying almost all the other municipalities that have, frankly, have already passed this. They did it in September.
And we do not have any choice but to ultimately allocate these funds in these amounts that are stated.
Well, this is the recommendation. I don't want to speak for Mr. Rongioni, but these are recommendations of our auditor to say this is how you have to fund your pension system. If you do not, you will be, the auditor general will come and do an investigation of you, and you can receive substantial fines.
Okay,
I've seen that happen.
correct.
Yes.
Councilman Quinn, you have a question?
We're approving the payment, and this is the amount that we have to approve. By this with this presentation, we're approving the payment, and this is the amount that we have to approve. If it's a case of asking the question of the timing of when the money goes out, that's something that the solicitor can be a little bit more specific about after he looks it up. The amounts are there, minimum required amount.
With the answer I got.
Any other questions or concerns? All right, can we get a motion to approve resolution 46-21?
I can make a motion.
Makes the motion. Oh, Michael is faster. And then. Okay, any other questions or concerns on this resolution? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say your name. Thank you. Ayes have it. Okay, passed. So next up, we have another resolution before we get to the actual. Resolution 47-21, a resolution authorizing the execution and commission, oh wait, why am I reading this? The solicitors are gonna take over. I was rocking and rolling and realized I didn't have to. Solicitors, take it away.
Okay. Pennsylvania Department of Education, PDE, Office of Commonwealth Libraries is accepting applications for grants to improve the physical facilities of state-aided public libraries. Whereas Darby Township desires to stand its municipal application for the Keystone Grant for public library facilities application and designate the appropriate municipal officials authorized to act on behalf of the township. Now therefore be it resolved. 1, pursuant to applicable state laws and regulations, Darby Township shall serve as the municipal applicant for the Keystone Grant for public library facilities application to be submitted to the Pennsylvania Department of Education, with the application to be executed on behalf of the township by Vince Rongioni, CAO. The chief administrative officer shall serve as the contact person for Upper Darby Township on the terms of this grant application, and the township is authorized to provide such assurances, certificates, and supplemental data or revised data that may be requested in connection with the application and administration of this grant, adopted and resolved today.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions or concerns on this resolution before we officially move it forward? Nope, not seeing any. Councilman Silva?
Yeah, so we're passing this resolution to look into grants through the Department of Education or the library system.
CAO?
Yeah, so the library needs a sponsoring municipality in order to apply for the grant. So we are passing a resolution to just say that we support the library's application for the grant. So we don't have any financial obligation. We're just essentially offering our support, like the same way we would get a letter of support from a community group for a grant that the township is participating in, except they need a sponsoring municipality. So that's what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Can we get a motion to approve resolution 47-21?
I'll make a motion.
Oh. Blackwell first. Thanks, Vin. Okay. All right, any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say your name. Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Okay. So we have an ordinance to discuss. This ordinance will not be officially introduced until October 20. Just wanted to clarify so that the Finance Committee has an opportunity to meet and discuss it officially. But we just wanted to start the conversation. So this is for ordinance 3105, solicitors, please take it away.
I believe Mr. Rongione was going to have a brief presentation on person and all.
Okay, great. DAO?
Sure. So this is what was mentioned in the mayor's message regarding providing more transparency to the Upper Darby taxpayers with regard to our relationship to the school district. So in most other municipalities, the realty transfer tax is split between the district and the township. Here in Upper Darby, it's entirely collected by the school district at present. So in an effort to address our ongoing budget situation, we would like to begin to collect some of the realty transfer fee. And it's important, I think the solicitor will go into more detail here, but this is a fee assessed at the time of closing on a seller. So it is not a broad-based property tax in any way. And we've been working very closely with the school district and the school district administration to figure out a way to do this such that the school district remains completely whole or as close to whole as possible, which is to say it continues to collect the same amount of revenue while still finding a way to generate revenue for the township to address some of the structural budget needs that the mayor mentioned in her message. So this is a preliminary conversation. We wanted to introduce the idea to the council and the public and make sure everyone understands that the school district and the administration are working very closely together to make this plan mutually beneficial for both taxing entities.
So I know some counselors asked me previously some of the specifics related to this tax. And what I wanted to do is briefly explain to you how Upper Darby and this tax is, I'll tell you how the tax is administered. As you see from page 4 of the ordinance right here, I'll just read basically how it is. Every person who makes, executes, delivers, accepts, or presents for reporting any document or on whose behalf any document is made, executed, delivered, accepted, or presented for reporting shall be subject to pay for and in respect to the transaction or any part thereof at the rate of 1% of the value of the real estate represented by such document, which tax shall be payable at the earlier of the time the document is presented for reporting or within 30 days of the acceptance of such document. The payment of the tax herein shall be evidenced by affixing an official stamp or writing by the recorder. And if for any reason the tax is not paid when due, interest at the rate and effect at the time of the tax shall be added. Then there is there's a whole set of definitions, which I don't think we need to actually go into tonight. But section 4 also talks about the parties that are exempted. And they are transfer to the Commonwealth, a document township is prohibited from taxing under the Constitution, a conveyance by a municipality, a transfer for or nominal actual consideration, which corrects or confirms the transfer, a transfer and division in kind or nominal actual consideration of property passed by testate, transfer between spouses, a transfer for no or nominal actual consideration of property passing by testate, a transfer for or nominal actual consideration of a trustee or an ordinary trust, a transfer for or nominal approved consideration from a trustee to a beneficiary of an ordinary trust, a transfer for no or nominal actual consideration to a successor trustee, and a whole other series of exemptions that I believe council had the opportunity to review, which are mirror exactly how the state law sets this up. This tax has been in effect in Upper Darby for many years. The school district collects this tax, right? So, for example, Millbourne Borough, which is a part of the Upper Darby School District, collects 1/2 of that 1%, and that goes into the general fund of Millbourne Borough. Okay, Upper Darby Township has never taken their percentage of 1% for policy reasons. There's nothing to say. Half of 1%. Yes. They have not chosen to pass an ordinance to go ahead and do that. Something that is unique about Upper Darby, and is also in a place, say, like Radnor. Radnor is a home rule municipality like Upper Darby. It is in Delaware County, so just using that as an example. Because we're a home rule municipality, there is case law saying that we can go ahead and exceed that 1%. So if there was an appetite among council to say that we wanted to, we could decide to split that 1% with the school district, we could exceed that number, whereas so the school district's funding for that number stayed in place, and then we collected a certain portion of the real estate transfer tax. For example, Radnor, just throwing that out as an example, the Radnor School District, Radnor Township collects 1%, and the school district gets a half of that 1%. But other places split it 0.75 in different ways. That's what Mr. Rongione was talking about as far as negotiations go and additional conversations with the school district. Those are all options that Upper Darby has if it chooses to do this tax. Again, this is not a new tax in Upper Darby Township. This would be a new tax. This would not be a new tax in Upper Darby residents. This would be a new tax in Upper Darby Township, giving the township the right to take its 1/2 of 1%, which many municipalities do. So that is the kind of the basis if everyone understands. And when the question was asked previously about that, that's why I wanted to explain it.
Great, and just clarification that that's on the sales of property.
Yep. So sale of property and it's administered at the county for quarter diesel.
Councilman Quinn?
When will this be effective? Is it set for next year? Or they can sign it?
So one of the reasons why the administration, I believe, wanted to start this conversation on this is it's a taxing ordinance. The taxing ordinance is a little different than a regular ordinance. So the advertising requirements for a taxing ordinance are you have to advertise it once a week apart for 3 successive weeks. So it basically takes at least a month, a little over a month to implement to make sure all the advertising is done correct. So I believe if the township wanted to move forward on it, they were intending to do this in 2022. So it needs to be done by the end of 2021 to take it. Yeah.
And
Yes, CAO.
thank you, Madam President. That's absolutely correct, Mr. Solicitor, with one important caveat. The school district is not on the same budget cycle as the township, so we have a calendar year where the school district, I believe, goes from June to June. And so another reason for doing it now is to make sure that the school district also has adequate time before they have to pass their budget. So the goal of the negotiation is to keep the school district as close to whole as possible, if not completely whole. But to the extent there is any impact, they would have time to work it into their budget, which does not go through until mid-year.
So if we're taking out 0.5% that they're used to receiving, how are we able to help them remain relatively whole if we're taking half of that away?
Well, we have a complex series of financial relationships with the school district. And so, as the mayor mentioned, untangling those, and also as the solicitor mentioned, because we're a home municipality, there is the option of going beyond the 1% if we choose to go in that direction. So there are a number of potential ways to make the deal work. And again, the school district and the administration are working very closely on those issues.
I'm sorry, Councilman Wagner is next. And
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, I jumped ahead of you.
No worries. I just want a real clear and simple answer to this, because that's the way I have to process these things. Will this increase the amount of the tax paid by the seller or the buyer of the property?
So the taxes, the tax is charged to the seller. And so, depending on exactly what the end result is, the burden will be on the seller. But if the tax remains at 1%, then the answer is no.
So that's the point. If the tax remains at 1%, the Upper Darby resident who's selling his or her house is not going to pay any more tomorrow than they pay today.
Correct.
The real issue is whether or not we're going to increase that tax over 1%. Otherwise, if we don't increase it over 1%, the school district is going to lose some revenue here, no matter how it's papered over or shuffled around. If it stays at 1%, the school district's got to lose by that. They have to. So I'm just wondering, are they okay with this? Are they going to go along with it?
Well, on this, you're absolutely correct on this particular line item. I mean, that's why I alluded to, or not alluded to, but that's why I mentioned that there's a complex series of financial back and forth between the school district and the township. I think there's two answers to that question. One is, we want to have a strong collaboration, and we do have a good relationship with the school district, so that's why we're working so closely with them on it. From a legal perspective, the council is entitled to enact it, and there's no legal recourse if we decide to enact it as most other municipalities do. So we're trying to work out a deal that is mutually amicable, but we're not legally required to do so the way we are with, say, Florida or something. That makes sense.
I understand what you're saying. I think I do. My real concern about it is that the only way in the end of the day that the school district and the township are going to be happy with it is to increase the tax, go to 1.5%. When you're talking about based on the sale of a property, a house that sells for $100,000, 1% of that, in my simple math, is $1,000, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's significant money to somebody who's either selling or buying a township, a property rather, in Upper Darby. That's what troubles me. But in any event, this particular resolution doesn't do that. Doesn't increase tax. It just gives the township the right to take a bite out of the school district, which is okay by me. I'm delighted by it. But
That's
nonetheless, that's what this resolution does. Ordinance, I'm sorry, thank you. And whether or not we're going to increase the amount of the tax is for another day, another ordinance, I think, if I understand this correctly, right?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm not the expert in council procedure here, but this is a preliminary discussion, right? This is the committee meeting, so.
Yes, it's the discussion part.
Right, so.
It's not introduced yet.
Right, so the ordinance has not been introduced yet, so I don't want to overstate what the final form of the ordinance will be. But, yeah.
Are you planning to give us an ordinance that's at 1.5%? Is that what you're thinking about it?
I mean, we're trying to work it out with the school district. Yeah.
I know where this is going. Okay. Thank you very much.
So next up, Councilman Gwynn.
I wanted to be clear about the percentage.
Speak into the mic.
I wanted to be clear about the percentage that we're talking about. it is a 0.5%, but not half the tax. So that if they increase the tax to 1.5%, we don't get 0.75. We're still looking at 0.5.
Is that correct?
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
So the taxes increased to 1.5.
If the taxes increase to 1.5, then we would get to pick what percentage of that 1.5 that Upper Darby Township would want. As I explained, Radnor Township takes 1, Radnor School District takes 0.5. From my understanding is Upper Providence Township takes 0.75. Rose Tree Township School District takes 0.75. So there are different permutations.
So if we did increase it to 1.5, if, big F, then it could be divided.
And if we just pass this ordinance as is and took 1/2, 0.5 of 1%, then nothing would change for the person conducting this transaction. So
Right.
I'm just trying to lay out all the
Right.
different variables.
Okay. I have Councilman Burke next.
Thank you, President. So we could be coming back to the table and charging 4%. And we could take 3%, the school district would take 1% on a transfer a year from now, correct? It's a possibility. There's no limit, right?
There is no limit, but I was asked this by the CAO and the mayor, and we're not going to recommend going over 1.5 if that's the administration's purview, because we want to base it on precedent of other municipalities in Delaware County.
So the 1.5 is out there. Correct? It's in discussion.
Yes, you just brought it up.
Yeah. Well, no, he said, why are we going there? And my question is, there is no ceiling here. Legally, there's no ceiling.
There's no ceiling here, correct?
And there is no ceiling on us taking 90%, correct? By law. You get sued. You're real fast. You're saying Radnor's taking 75%.
So, as I just said, my recommendation is not to differ from how other Delaware County municipalities do. So I'm not, yes, you could go to 5% or 4% or whatever. But as the township's attorney, I would like to take a more cautious approach, and that would be my recommendation. Council, it's your decision. It's free to disagree with me.
I just want to make sure, it's out there 100%, that's all.
Councilwoman Blackwell, I thought you signaled you wanted.
Okay, my question was answered.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Councilman Bennett.
Thank you. Whomever can answer this question. Isn't the transfer tax paid on both sides of the sale transaction by the buyer and the seller?
Well, it is your question.
Does the buyer pay 1% and does the seller pay 1%? I thought it was on both sides of that transaction.
Normally, that's taken care of in the agreement of sale, and they come to a resolution of that. That's my understanding.
Okay. Right. But do we, as a township, set the total rate and then decide with the school district how to split it? Or does the school district also have to act to institute the tax?
CAO.
The school district already has a tax.
No, I understand. Is it?
So if we then institute, say we instituted this and we said, school district, we're just going to split it 0.5 and 0.5 up to 1. Then the recorder of deeds is going to have that information. And my understanding is they will split it and send it and remit it back to the municipality.
Is there any action to be taken by the school district?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so we have a statute.
But if we decide to go ahead and split something or come to some arrangement, then we're going to recommend both bodies do something.
Good, all right.
And what if the school district says no? Sorry.
Statutorily, it'd be our legal opinion that we have the ability of taking up to that 1/2 of 1%. So we think, I believe legally, the township is in good legal standing to act as it wishes.
Councilman Siddiq, right hand.
I believe that buyer and seller both pay 1% this side.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
And Upper Darby resident had a lot of issue, a lot of burden about the taxes. And I really don't want to go that route. In future, it could gonna be 1.5 increase from both sides, buyer and seller, and then split it. Whether I go for half and half, 0.5 split it, because buyer and seller both pay 1%.
Okay.
And so many good residents, because of the tax burden, Upper Darby Township moving out from here. So I don't want to be going that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone who hasn't spoken wants to speak on Councilman Silva?
Sure, so if we pass this ordinance, then it's like basically authorizing us to be, to receive a portion of this, but the percentage, how is the percentage set? Is that set by resolution, or is that set by, the administration coming to an arrangement?
It's in the ordinance. I got the,
No, Citizen, I'm sorry, Citizen,
I'm
you
sorry.
said that this tax already exists, the school district already exists.
yes, but how it gets distributed.
But, so it gets distributed, he just said, Solicitor, correct me if I'm wrong. He just said it gets solicited, we, for the township controls how that, and this is within our rate.
It has to be stated in the ordinance, correct? How it would be divided up.
Yeah, I think, I could be wrong, but I think the confusing issue is that in most places, both taxing entities levy the tax, and it's therefore split. The reason now is the school district is the only entity levying the tax. And so that's what enables them to collect the full 1% at this time. And so, de facto, if you were to act and enact a 1% tax, absent an agreement with the school district, it would be split 50-50. And it's only the fact that Upper Darby is a home rule community that allows us to go beyond that. Similarly, in Radnor and Scranton and all of these other home rule places where the tax is larger, in places that are, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Solicitor, in places that are bound by the township code or the borough code, there's a limit. There actually is a limit on how much you can impose the tax, and it's 1%. So in most places that aren't home rule communities, you've got a school district that levies 1%, municipality levies 1%, and they split it 0.5. It's only these home rule communities that get into these permutations and can create agreements to apportion the tax differently. Hope that was helpful.
So I guess the question that's kind of floating around is if council is leaning towards doing the split of the 1% and you're negotiating with the school district and you guys negotiate a 1.5%, where do we run in? I mean, how?
Yeah, so I think
that's where we run into a snag, and that's kind of where council members are kind of trying to understand the approach, because in what you've been saying is that you're working on negotiating with them, finding a way to get them as close to whole as possible, which we all fully understand and respect. But yet, if we take half of that percent, then they're not at close to whole. Outside of other workings and
Sure,
support,
yeah.
I understand. So I guess that's the, I believe from what I'm hearing from council is they're leaning towards the 1%. If we do this, but the 1.5 is something that may not be something that, I mean, I'm just, that's my
Right,
assessment.
no.
So, but if you're negotiating it and you guys land at 1.5%, I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna work that out.
Right, no, that's why we're having this conversation, right? So, we now have input, from council in a public forum, and that will help inform, the negotiations and the recommendation, of the mayor. So what we're trying to do is get input from the public, get input from the council, and ultimately, what we'd like to do is come to the council with a recommendation that takes all of those things into account, and then it's up to council to decide if they agree with that recommendation. Absolutely.
Okay, Councilman Burke is next and then.
Thank you, President. So after hearing Councilman Siddiq and Councilman Bonnet, it's 1% on both sides. So that's 2%. That's 2% of 100,000 is 2,000 that the school district's getting. If we raise it to 1.5 on each side, what, they're not paying 1% each?
The state, the school district gets 1%, the state gets 1%.
Okay. So that would be 1,000 they would get. The school district right now.
Yeah.
So if we raise it to 1.5, the state would get 1.5?
No, I don't believe the state's share is impacted.
Okay, so the state gets 1%. So if we go to 1.5, then the state would get 1,000. And the school district would get 2,000. And we would take half of that, we would take 1,000, the school district would take 1,000, correct?
No, they would get it.
Yeah, they would get half of the 2,000, that's 1.5.
The only question is what percentage of that the municipality, the township is splitting with the school district? That's it. We can legally do that.
And we can take up to 1/2 of the total.
Yes.
Well, we can take
No,
more
we
than
can take
that.
more than one.
Yeah, more than 1/2. But if you're at 1%, yes, you can take half of 1%.
Correct, yes.
But
I
if
believe
it
that
was,
was your question.
but if it was
Yeah.
more then you could take,
Yes,
make that 5.
yes, or one and
1%
then
and then the other
half,
half
or
goes.
0.5 and one, you can.
But I mean, look, I think we would all agree that the school district is our most important and largest stakeholder in the township. The success of the school district is fundamentally tied to the success of the municipality overall, which is why I keep stressing that we're working very closely with them and trying to work out a recommendation for the council that they do agree with and that is mutually beneficial. I think that's very important.
Of course, I mean, we're all residents here and sustaining our schools is very important.
So that's going to be.
So Councilman, so is there anyone who hasn't spoken on this yet? Okay, Councilman Gray.
Question for Vince.
Yeah.
Do you have any concept as to how much the school district has received in terms of raw dollars in the last year or they are expecting to receive this year?
Well, forgive me here, Councilman Nguyen, I don't want to be coy about this, but their budget is public. I don't really want to comment on their budget. I don't know how much they've received. I think they budgeted $2.5 million, but I really don't feel comfortable talking too much about their finances. Yeah.
So if they receive, or expect to receive 2.5 million at the existing percentage that they charge, then we could theoretically have an idea how much that's going to impact us.
Correct. Yes.
So they had basically come up with another way of getting millions.
Those right.
That's fine. Yeah, and it is our tax that we levy.
Right, we don't collect it.
They've been collecting. So
He's letting them have it.
Yes, correct.
So I just want to say,
Yeah, I just want to say, keep negotiating, I guess. That's it.
We are working very hard on it.
yeah, I believe that.
We just got this tonight, so it's not like we had a chance to look at this. Dot the i's and cross.
Right, so we need the finance committee to meet to discuss this, before the next meeting. Okay? So you get some homework.
Okay, we'll schedule that.
Great, thank you. Thank you all for your conversation. And I do realize there are school board members in the house, in the audience, and I wasn't sure if you wanted to come in and comment on it because you're here, or if, I don't want to disrespect you guys. You guys are part of our team, and so please come forward if you wanted to throw anything in on this discussion.
Hi there, my name is Neil Desnoyers. I'm a school board member. My address is 133 Green Valley Road. And what I can say is that if the school district portion of the real estate transfer tax is reduced, it will impact our program of capital improvement projects.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep. Go ahead.
Rachel Mitchell, 632 Harper Avenue. Not only will it, just to echo Mr. Desnoyers, it would also impact potentially what the school district would have to raise in taxes. So as Mr. Rangione alluded to, the school district did budget 2.5 million for this year to collect in real estate transfer taxes. So that amount of money, it's pretty steady over time. During the recession, it was like a little bit lower, but we would have to account for that recurring revenue in our budget and also make decisions about one-time financing. So whether you guys collect the tax or we collect the taxpayers are going to have to pay the tax somehow. Thanks.
Thank you very much, school board directors, for taking part. I greatly appreciate your participation. Yeah, we are going to move on. Thank you all. So next up is the finance committee's official report. Take it away, finance committee.
Is there anybody from the finance committee that needs to bring something for you? Anyone? Anybody from council? Anybody from the administration? I would like to say that the finance committee has started to work on the budget this year. We have had communication with the administration. And I expect us to also meet and discuss things in more detail. We have requested salary list of personnel and what their expected rates are going to be for next year. Thank you.
Great, thank you. That's great. Great, thank you. So next up, we have Planning, Zoning, and Building Code Committee, co-chairs Gwynn Jr. and Phillips, members Barnett and Tunis Jr. We have a presentation for petition for intermunicipal transfer of liquor license.
John McCreesh, who's the attorney for the applicant. I think the applicant might even be there as well, just to give a brief explanation.
Thank you. And if you guys could, when you go to speak, state your name and spell it, so that we have it for our records.
My name is John J.
We have quiet council, please. Thank you. Please continue.
My name is John J. McCreesh III. I'm an attorney here in Upper Darby. I was asked by the solicitor's office to come here tonight to give you a little preview of what we were going to present at the official intermunicipality transfer hearing, which is scheduled, I believe, for November the 10th.
Yes, I spoke to Council President Wentz and she's authorized it.
Yes.
All right, now I'm here with my friend Innocent Awobuka, and he is a Township business resident since 2003. At the present time, he owns SA Cafe at 48 Garrett Road, which many of you may be familiar with. He wants to purchase, well, he already owns, 42, right? 42 Garrett, and he's going to extend, he's going to open a new restaurant there, a little more upscale than the one that he has now. Here these two. And he brought some pictures of the new restaurant along with the diagram and the menu. The menu is for the old restaurant, and like I said, it's going to be a little bit more upscale. We need a liquor license because it's hard to sell just one product, food, as you well know. I've been doing this for 55 years. Nobody's successful with a BYOB unless the husband and wife work the place themselves. So we have purchased or entered into the purchase of a liquor license from Haverford Township, and we're going to ask to bring him in here. Innocent will tell you a little bit about himself, about his business, and the fact that he has been in business here in Upper Darby since 2003. He's my friend, my neighbor, and my client, and a very interesting man.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Innocent Onwiko. I'm originally from. I came here in 2000 to go to school at St. Joseph University. At St. Joseph University, I got my 2 masters in gerontology and in healthcare. Then I went to Drexel University for nursing. I'm a practicing registered nurse. And I own a home care agency here in Upper Darby in Philadelphia. So as part of reaching out to my community to bridge the gap between here and West Africa, where I'm from, I started a restaurant that would provide food, especially for those from my own country of origin. So the first one has been successful, and we decided to open a second one and kind of upscale and better environment, more than what we have already. And it's such a place that anyone here would be happy to come and sit and eat and enjoy our food. We provide African, Caribbean, and American food. So I'm begging that you guys please consider allowing us to bring in the liquor license from Haverford to add to the one we already have. I promise you I'll continue to keep this place as peaceful, keep my guests safe, and the properties in Upper Darby as safe as I can. When we have any event that might need security, we go all out and even also notify Upper Darby police to help us out to maintain peace and order. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you have any questions, be glad to answer them.
Councilman Tunis?
Yeah, just a comment and question for solicitor. The comment is, the question is, so we have to vote to approve the petition.
So what I would suggest is, already spoke to Council President Wentz. Perhaps a motion from council tonight to authorize the hearing in November. So it's very clear, and there's a need, there's some specific advertising requirements that we're working with Mr. McCreach's office on the Pennsylvania to do. And then we will have a hearing and then a vote.
Not to be a wise guy, but I've been doing it for a long time. You should charge us an application fee, and you should do the advertising and get the solicitor so you don't get in trouble by law. All right, and then we will pay you the application fee. And if you want to keep change, you can. It's not that much. By the time it's over, we have an idea what it's going to be. And then we'll have a hearing. They also have to tell you You have 45 days to act on this. And if you don't act on it, we win automatically. I'm just trying to be upfront with you, to tell you the law.
Right, so by the count of the days, it has to.
We categorized
Sir,
our meeting. I thought you worked this out.
Wait a second, I'm not finished.
Wait,
I'm not finished. We will agree to extend the 45 days.
well, the 45 days gives us a hearing. The 45 days lands on November 11th. So our next meeting, in order to have enough time to advertise as it needs to be advertised.
Yeah, I understand.
I did the math, sir.
No,
I've
what I'm
already
saying,
broken it down. Okay, when this was first brought to me, I broke it down for the math. Okay, and so as long as we have the hearing on November 10th and approve it on November 10th, if that is the will of council, then we will be within your 45-day window.
I didn't say that. I'm offering to tell you that we will extend the 45 days, so you don't have to rush. So if you miss the 10th and it goes to the 15th or the 20th, we'll extend it.
Thank you very much. We don't.
So we don't put you under the gun.
Mr. McCready, after speaking to Ms. Lentz and the administration, we don't view this as particularly controversial.
No.
So
no.
let's just schedule the hearing and have it within the 45 days.
Yeah, that's
That's what
fine.
we're trying to say.
Yeah, but if you need the extra time, we'll give it to you.
Okay.
Thank you, but I think we're okay. It lands perfectly within our already existing agenda for our council meetings, and so therefore the 10th is just fine for us.
Good, thank you.
Okay? Councilman Tunis, sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
despite the comments by Mr. Innocent's representation, which wasn't directed to my question, or my comment. My comment is, I believe South Cafe has been essential to Five Point section of Upper Darby Township. I think that this part of the township has so much untapped potential, and it could be a good restaurant district. One thing I would say about the cafe is Friday nights, Saturday nights, Thursday nights, they're always secured. There are people out there protecting the space and making sure people are still able to have a great time. So I think it's a diverse business that adds to the cultures of Upper Darby Township, and I'm just asking if we can support the motion to not have it here, breaking here.
Definitely. No, he is a upstanding business man in our community, and many of us have enjoyed time in his restaurant. So greatly appreciate you being here and continuing to, open new businesses in our township.
Thank you, sir.
So I see Councilman Burt and Silva and Phillips.
Thank you, President. Do we have a number of liquor licenses that we allow in the township? Is there a cap or not a cap? I mean,
Why don't you ask Mr. McCready?
Mr. McCready, yes. Many years ago, you couldn't move them from town to town or township or whatever. I know they removed that quite a few years ago. Does Upper Darby Township have a cap on how many liquor licenses they're allowed to have?
Many as you want in here. By ordinance and by this hearing.
Okay, thank you. And I support this. Thank you.
Councilman Silva?
I guess my question is more procedural. So this hearing would be during our November 10th council meeting. It's not going to, okay, because we already have the budget or.
Yeah, right. It's included it'll be on our agenda. It'll be on our agenda for the meeting, and it'll, and we'll just have the hearing, like we have ordinance hearings, but it will have been advertised appropriately prior to that point in time.
Okay.
Like our ordinances are.
All right, thank you. And yeah, I do actually enjoy the food from your restaurant, so look forward to this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Councilwoman Phillips, and then, Bonnet. Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say that I support this too. I love your food. Your food is fantastic, so I will definitely, I hope everyone will support this as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Councilman Bonnet.
Thank you. Mr. McCready, is my understanding correct that the only reason we have to have the hearing is because it is an intermunicipal transfer? It's coming from another municipality.
Correct.
Now, if you were purchasing a license from within this township, there would be no hearing.
Exactly.
It would be, you have the right to use that.
Unfortunately, there's no licenses available.
Right, so we will be adding, if we
You'll be
approve this,
adding one.
adding a license into the township.
At least one. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other questions or concerns? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much for coming this evening and giving us this information. We need
I'm going to make a motion to schedule a hearing for November 10th.
can we do that even though it wasn't on our agenda?
We're not taking action on anything, it is scheduling a hearing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, can I get a motion to schedule a meeting for November hearing?
Second.
So Gwynn and Tunes for scheduling the hearing for November. Okay, any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No, say your name. Ayes have it. Meeting is scheduled for
Yes.
November 10th.
Just
The
as,
hearing is scheduled for November 10th.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Just as an aside, Innocent and I would like to thank council and Upper Darby for obtaining for us in the 100 block of Garrett Road, this grant, which will allow our tenants and ourselves to improve the outside facade of the buildings and all. And we really appreciate it. Innocent and I both have properties there, and we're going to pass it on to our tenants. We also decided, Innocent and I, to get the other tenants and owners involved to a certain extent, that the township went into looking into having lights strung throughout the block over the street. And the price came in pretty high. I think it was, and don't hold me if I forget, but in the 30,000 range. But we're going to try to raise a good part of that money from the grant money that you gave us, so we can do something to put those lights up.
Great.
All right?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mr. Innocent, can you spell your name for us?
Innocent, like not guilty.
Okay, and that's but I wanted to double check to make sure there wasn't any confusion.
I can spell his last name after 20 years.
All right, cool. How do you spell his last name?
Last name is O, like in Oscar, M like in Nancy, W like in word, U as in umbrella, B as in boy, I-K-O.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Great, so at this point in time, can the Planning, Zoning, and Building Code Committee give their report?
Okay, does anybody in the committee have anything to bring forward? Anybody from council have anything to bring forward? Anybody in administration? Seeing none, moving on.
Great. Great, so next up, we have Public Health and Environmental Affairs Committee, co-chairs Tunis Junior and Silva, members Phillips and Sneed. Take it away, guys.
Does anyone from the Public Health and Environmental Affairs Committee have anything to bring forward?
I do.
Yes. So, we met with, Stephanie Sina, and, she gave us a really good, background of who she is, and we're hoping to bring her to council. She, was awarded the money for the homeless program. So we're hoping to bring her to council for her to talk about, what that is, what it looks like. I mean, we don't have the shelter yet. But we want to introduce her to council really soon. So we had a really good meeting with her. So looking forward to that. So we're gonna look out, to meet Stephanie. Yes.
Do any other members of the Public Health and Environmental Affairs Committee have anything to bring forward to council? Do any council members have anything to bring forward to the Public Health and Environmental Affairs Committee? Do any members of the administration? Okay, seeing none, that concludes our report.
Great. Next up is the Municipal Services Licensing and Public Works Committee, co-chair Sadiq and Tunis Jr., members Wagner and Burke. Take it away, gentlemen.
Did any member of the committee have any comments on the issue? Yes.
I do. Thank you. The mayor spoke earlier, CAO, the mayor spoke earlier about a grant for 6 new trash trucks earlier today.
Yes.
Just give us an update maybe in an email, when we'll receive them. I know it'll help our fleet after how bad the fleet has been, but in the last couple of years, we've picked up some trucks and done another grant for 6. Just give us some updated information, not at the meeting, but just in an email through the committee, that's all.
Sure, no, happy to do it. And just broadly, I mean, this grant is fantastic. And I think we are over 10 new sanitation vehicles either ordered or delivered. Supply chains are tough, so I can't guarantee delivery date, but yes.
Exactly. Thank you. Yep.
Any other council members? Administration, head? None.
Okay.
Let's conclude the report.
Great. Great. Law and government and rules and procedures.
Anyone from the committee have anything to say today? Tonight?
Me.
Okay.
I don't know if it's appropriate, this committee that we in the Darby Township is big enough and growing enough. I would like to work or propose to the committee to make this Upper Darby Township transfer to city of Upper Darby.
I don't know if the committee can do that. That's
So there's certain things that have to take place in order for a township to become a city. And one of the biggest, my understanding is that the biggest thing that we have right now that is the obstacle for us to do that is the island of the 2-1 that is not attached in any way to the rest of the township. So we have to be continuous. We have to all parts of our township must be connected in order to become a city. That's my understanding. Is that a fair assessment?
I don't know off the top of my head.
CAO, what stops us from becoming a city?
There are, sorry.
I mean, that's just one of them.
Yes. We've actually been working with Senator Carney's office to understand all of the requirements and obstacles. Being completely contiguous is a hurdle, as the council president mentioned. And I believe it would also require a referendum, change to the home rule charter. It's a multi-step involved process in order to make the transition. Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah, let's start.
it has started, but it's a long process. Okay. I mean, I know that our municipality is big enough, and a lot of what we do is similar to that of cities around us, but we're not quite there yet. Okay?
Thank you.
So is this something we plan on doing, becoming a city?
Sorry.
Go
I mean,
ahead, CAO.
that's a conversation, as I said, if there would have to be a referendum, like that's not something that the administration or the council can do without consulting the public. But I think sort of the more important thing in some ways, Upper Darby is a home rule municipality. We refer to ourselves as a township as sort of a historic convention, and when our home rule charter doesn't cover a topic, we revert to the first-class township code. But the technical reality of Upper Darby's status is, Upper Darby is a home rule community. We're not technically a township in that sense. So, and in the same way, like the city of Scranton has a home rule charter, they're referred to as a city. So in some ways, it's semantic. It does have some other legal implications that would need to be considered, and there are reasons to potentially pursue it, but the home rule charter is really what governs us and constitutes what Upper Darby is as a technical legal matter. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I just listened.
No, you're correct. And representing other home rule municipalities, some of the arguments that why a home rule municipality is sometimes problematic is when legislation is drafted, it'll often include the language city, borough, or township, and sometimes home rule municipalities omitted. So then there's often legislative fixes for that. So there are all little issues that come up.
Right. And there are a lot of changes we'd like to make to the home rule charter, but any change we make to the home rule charter is a ballot initiative, correct? So that's how it goes to the voter, to the residents, is through a ballot initiative. When we find, what we basically have to do, in order for it to be efficient, is to figure out all the changes that one wants to make to the home rule charter and do it all on one big thing. I know that giving the duties back to the treasurer is one of the initiatives that we wanted to do. So there's a whole variety of things that, outside of, a lot of the wording and so forth that we wanted to change. So, there's a variety of things.
So our home rule charter was created in 1976.
Yeah. I think
It's time now to change.
yes, it needs some updating. Well, that's part of with our ordinance.
I will update it here.
Yes, needs some updating. Agreed.
And I would like to make a real meeting with this committee regarding how we can come over with this one. We need to referendum, we can go for it. We are elected official. We represent the constituent. So I think we have things to say in future.
I don't disagree with you. However, I'm not an attorney. This process.
It's a complicated.
Yeah, it sounds complicated. So I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm not saying that, but I do think that that's something that attorneys and state rep and all those people that have the legal terminology for that to
4 years ago,
maybe present it to us.
4 years ago, Norristown Council chose to change their home rule charter. It was about a year process within council. So it wasn't just like one thing. They picked like 9 things they wanted to change within the home rule charter. And it wasn't just done. There was a lot of debate. And then it was put on the ballot referendum and then voted on. And it passed. But
Because it,
yes, it passed.
very good.
But there's also timing, there's considerations within that too. Do you want to schedule it during, a municipal election? Do you want to schedule it during a presidential election? Do you want to, all those things? Those are all kind of thought through.
Great.
Again, I'm not saying it's impossible, but
It's just not going to be done today or tomorrow or by the end of this year.
No problem.
Okay, but it's something to work on.
it's something to work on. I agree. It's something to work on.
Definitely.
Thank you, Councilman Sidney. So, does anyone else from council have anything else? Anyone from the administration? Okay, seeing none, that concludes our report. Thank you.
Okay. Next up, Public Safety Committee, co-chairs Blackwell and Burke, members Tunis Jr. and Silva. Please take away, co-chairs.
Thank you, President. Anybody from the committee have anything to bring forward tonight? Anybody from council? Go ahead.
I just want to make residents aware, especially in Southern District, we've had some, new paving, crosswalks, painted, especially on like the 200 block of Long Lane, 100 block of Garrett, and also, 200 block of, Garrett, and I want to say, the roads of Long Lane and, Shirley also been paved. So if you're in the Southern District, those are some, new additions that I just want to make public aware of.
Anybody from council?
I'm sorry, I have one
Go
thing to
ahead.
bring forward.
Sure, Chair.
On Westchester Pike, the parents or whoever's driving the children at Highland Park Elementary School, they're parking at St. Lawrence Elementary School, and it's causing some, a little bit of a friction because it's taking up parking spaces for the St. Lawrence children, drop-offs for parking. So there's becoming an issue there on Westchester Pike where children are being dropped off and they're traveling through. If anybody know how it looks, but they're going through and around, which is, they can also be hit by cars. So it's kind of becoming a dangerous situation.
Then maybe we can meet up there, Danielle, and talk to the pastor and then talk to the superintendent of schools and see if we can come to a conclusion.
Okay, thank you.
President Lynch, go ahead.
Yes, just wanted to, say that, I sent you a copy of the draft of the responsible contracting ordinance. Did you send out a new draft recently?
I sent it out today.
Okay, so there's a new draft that I will be sending out to you today. So I just wanted to let you know a new version is going to come to you so that you can meet on it. We ideally would like to introduce it at November 10th.
Our committee will meet on that. Go ahead.
And also, I want to know, how are we handling if someone is not home and they received a notice to lose their car and the streets are being paved? Because I had one resident who came to me and she stated that she received a ticket, her car was towed, but she didn't get a chance to move her car because she wasn't home, she was on vacation.
Township Engineer Galante, would you like to answer that question since you're the paving guy or not?
So.
Is that okay, CIO?
You want me to answer? I can answer. Yeah, so prior to paving, there's a notice, there are flyers, there's actually a posting that's put out by the contractor. We provide the contractor with the posting so they can post it throughout the neighborhood. Our inspector drives around in the morning, knocks on doors, any cars that are not moved from the night before. And also there's a hand delivered flyer given out to the residents.
She said she was away for a week, 2 weeks, she went to Europe, something like this, and she didn't get a chance to get the flyer or to know to move her car. But I can just give you that information and maybe you can handle that on a case-by-case basis for these for these situations.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you, thank you.
I have a few things to add. Councilwoman Morales, would you like?
Yeah, I do. I have some. So there's a dentist office on Ashland and Providence Road. And there's a bus stop there on the corner and they're having a problem with the kids that are there for the bus stop that are now leaning up against the glass of the dentist office and the patients can't get in and the big conflict there. So the dentist called me this morning and wants the bus stop moved, so I don't know.
It's a school bus?
The school is up at our school.
Okay, so that's not really for us. School, we have to bring it to the school district to deal with.
It's a safety issue too, that the kids aren't letting the people into the dentist.
Yeah, but we don't control the bus stop.
I know, but meanwhile, when that all goes through, can something be done with the kids, like by the police department or something?
No.
So they can't patronize.
CIO, could you help us out with that? If possible?
Excuse me. Yeah, it's certainly something that I can bring up with Superintendent Bernhardt.
Or the school district?
Yeah.
Thank you. I have a couple things. One, I would like to thank the fire department for sending their report to council. And in the future, can we get the parking report monthly and the police report monthly also? I know we have in the past just to keep updated council and public safety. I guess that's it for, does anybody from administration have anything to bring forward? Sadiq, go ahead.
I'm really having problem with our lane from Marshall to Market. Is a wider street, and I believe that street belongs to state. There's a sign posted there 15 miles per hour, but people driving over there 50 to 55 miles because of the wider street. And this is a cut through, pass through, or bypass. When the Marshall Road is busy, they try to come to Market. When Market is busy, try to come to Marshall Road. So I know that we have pilot projects, some other places, the speed hump or speed bump. But wow, we can help our resident to save their life from there. The last month, there was a 2-3 accident and serious accident. Car messed up and damaged the pole and everything. And we have a lot of density population over there, and the school kids all the time in the morning and afternoon over there. So I really want to talk with our safety committee how we can provide some more safety for the community over there, especially our land.
Councilor Sadiq, I believe, CIO, we have a grant in for that area, correct, that you guys are working on, that maybe we can implement some public safety with that grant and the reconstruction, or no?
Yeah, so the grant is for curb and sidewalk at the corner there. And there are a number of ways that we can try to affect traffic calming on that street. To be honest, very minimally through that particular grant, but as Councilman Sadiq said, it is a state road. And so one of the things that we're doing is working with PennDOT, try to get them to better understand our priorities when it comes to traffic calming and complete streets. If you recall, we've referenced complete streets and Vision Zero in past meetings. And so once we have a complete streets plan, when PennDOT comes in, they will understand, okay, we need to do some of the traffic calming things when we restripe the roads, narrow the lanes, et cetera. Unfortunately, there are some limits to what is possible on a state road, but we are working closely with them to try to get PennDOT to implement traffic calming in places like that on roads that they control.
Thank you for that answer. Councilman Flynn, go ahead.
Yes, this may also go to Mr. Galante, I think. I'd like, if you could tell us an update on what traffic calming streets that he is working on, because I think we had some in Lakeview and also Sellers. And this past week, I was told by individuals that live on Wayne Avenue, they're having the problems of people cutting through between Garrett Road and the state.
Calm down, Mr. Rebate.
With a popular man tonight.
Exceeding the speed limits.
Yeah, well, we, good evening again. We just to, talk about some of the traffic calming measures we did. We focused on Owen Avenue early and we worked on Parkview, got the circle put in, did some striping out there. Some of the roadways that you reference are on the list. I don't have an update for you right now, but I can get with Vince, Mr. Rangione and work on, trying to get an update to council.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Whenever you're ready.
Go ahead, President. Let's.
Okay, I do realize when I spoke about the RCO, I did send it both to the Public Safety Committee and the Law and Government Committee. So I will be sending the new draft that we received to both committees again, just for clarification.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that will conclude.
No.
I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna be that long. So, I know people been asking about this, because I know I asked about it also. 69th Street is like really, going down where
The bubbles.
yeah,
Skid.
yeah, that's not bubble, that's not. So I don't know what can be done about it. I mean, it's really.
No, it's all.
That's not a state road.
Oh, Mountain Tables Road.
What street is it?
Section.
It's a nice street.
69.
It's a nice street.
Councilwoman Phillips,
Yeah.
I'll try to set up a meeting with the CIO and the township engineer and maybe have a healthy discussion and put it on a road plan.
Sure.
Thank you.
I mean, the roller coaster ride?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
We have a
So we have an update. We did have a conversation with Mr. Galante. We've had, we were working on a letter to ultimately, look, this particular portion of 69th Street is owned by a Darby. This happened as a function of a turnback program in the 1980s. It was considered to be a road that had a particular local function. However, as we all know, this is a road that does not just merely have a local function anymore. So we're kind of creating a letter to send to PennDOT, to send to other representatives, to really clarify that relationship, that it should go back to them in terms of the maintenance because of the inter-county function that it currently has. So we've been working on that. We've actually talked to Mr. Albert about it too, because there's a 69th Street kind of gateway project that we're kind of talking about and mentioning in the letter. So when we send it, we kind of really created a good conversation about it. There's also another road, Bluefield Road, that actually was in a similar situation. So we were asking, hey, there's a couple of roads out here. Can you help us with this with the hope that they'll take back at least one? So we won't have the responsibility, but it's something that we are working on an ongoing basis.
Thank you.
Thank you for that update. Hopefully we hold on to Bloomfield. The other one's a little worse than Bloomfield. So,
Thank you.
solicitor, thank you.
Absolutely.
Can you speak on the video?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as the letter goes out and hopefully we get a response soon, soon. You know, we will definitely keep council updated with that information.
That's great, thank you.
Now, that concludes my report, President Lynch.
Thank you. Next up, Leisure Services Committee, co-chairs Tunis Junior and Silva, members Faraya and Blackwell. Take it away.
Okay, before, asking if the members have any questions or concerns, I just wanted to make the township aware of some upcoming recreation programs that's been going on every weekend. We have some yoga, there's some kids martial arts. It's like three or four more recreation activities. You can find this information on the township Facebook, and or probably shared by council members. I think it's a really great initiative, to keep a lot of the recreation programs in-house, and some of these things has not been done in the township. So, it's they have a great social media plan, so check that out. Moving forward, does anyone from the committee have any, questions or concerns for leisure services?
I know.
Councilwoman Farrell?
So, the mayor had spoke earlier saying about a grant for this, stream bank for Gillespie Park. Did you know about that?
The grant? No.
For one there. So do you know that or maybe CA, do you know if they're removing the ball fields and stuff from there, from the park?
No, the old cage, was removed, but no.
That's not fair. And I didn't know anything about it until last night at 11:15. I got this from a constituent, sent it to me, about a flyer that went in everybody's door about what was going on down there. And I just feel like that's my district. I know nothing about it, and I find out from a constituent. That's what I get aggravated about, because then I have to answer him today, and I didn't know anything about it.
Understood.
Anyone else on the committee have any report? Anyone else on council? All right, thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Great. Next up, Event Planning Committee, co-chairs Phillips and Blackwell, members Tunis Junior and Silva. And I wasn't, So event planning committee, co-chairs Phillips and Blackwell, and members Tunis Junior and Silva.
Thank you. Anyone from the committee have anything to add? No? Anyone from council? Oh, yeah. Sorry. So we are planning doesn't have a name yet, but it's a mental health fair expo. Doesn't have a name yet. We're getting it's gonna be May 14th. It's gonna be, in my head, my vision is, we're gonna have, a mobile van that's gonna do mammograms. We're gonna have, the Y already committed, they're gonna do some yoga and pop-up exercise. My job, Temple, I'm gonna have some nurses out there that's gonna be doing blood pressure checks and all this stuff. And so, yeah, so we're in the planning stage, we're writing up letters to go out to tell people to save the date. And, so be expecting that letter very soon. So it's gonna be May 14th, and it's gonna be at 2022. And it's gonna be at, Allison was so gracious to let me know that the 69th Street playground is available that day. So it's gonna be there. Because, yeah, the purpose of having this because, COVID affected a lot of people, right? Not only, mentally and physically, just the overall well-being. So that's the hope to bring some fun as well to this fair. But we'll have a name.
And if Eugene's doing help, like on the nursing aspect with blood pressure stuff, I can help you do that.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And we'll definitely reach out. Yeah, thank you.
Councilman Tunis?
Yeah, I just want to encourage council to attend, like, the township's having an event or the events committee is having an event. We need to make an effort to all be there and we'll promote it. Since I've been on council, there hasn't been one event where either the entire council has been present or all political parties have been present. It just seems to show the township that we're kind of divided. If we can't come to events like National Night Out or International Festival, where it's meant to bring the township together, question why you're serving. So I'm really just a little bit annoyed about some of the presence from council members at events, but I'm asking, I know we're all busy. I'm asking if you can attend, at least promote it. Because if you're telling your district about it, it's gonna help somebody. We're giving field program, we had a job fair yesterday, we had National Night Out. These are all great events for the community.
Yes, Councilman City.
I have two things. One is, in future, when you big plan event like international festival, I think council should be more active and all the council members should be part of the festival. And requesting in future, if it's such a big event, all the council member should get fair share in that part. And second one is like an event and a new business. The October 10th, there will be community get together on Cardington Field from 12 to 4 p.m. All are invited, just get together and meet with the community people and have lunch with them.
October 10th?
Yes,
Sunday.
it's Sunday. All are invited, there will be free lunch for everyone. 12 to 4.
Okay.
And I request all the officials or township officials come at around 2 p.m. I'll text to everyone.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Also on October 10th, I just looked at I don't know if everybody is aware that there's a farmer's market that's going to be going on that day as well. And I can give you the information. I don't have, it's at the walking center. At 2:00.
Okay.
I'll give you that information.
Yeah, I can just remember.
Okay. So are we at the old business or new business?
Not yet.
We're not at any of that.
No, 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 no.
We're still in the committee.
I had to ask.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Phillips. On October 9th, Bird Boulevard Fall Fest, Saturday, October 9th, 2 to 7. The outdoor music, yoga, the Ramic Business Association is closing the street down. There'll be live music and sponsored by the business district there from 2 to 7 on Saturday.
Thank you.
Great.
Councilman City? I mean, Councilman Tony.
Sorry, the common speak, but, just so you see, I just want to let at large members know I'm going to be emailing you. I'm doing senior healthcare evolution senior apartments, which is the independent senior living community in my district. They're also building a extension called Atticus in place. And these seniors haven't had any activity in almost 2 years. So I think it would be great if you all can attend. You must be vaccinated. Just give me a heads up if you're coming, because their building is secure. 2 to 4.
And if you can attend, we are having a council table. I'm not able to be there. I have a convention I have to attend, so I'm giving Councilman Tunis our handouts, which includes information we got from the police department on, tips that seniors need to know to protect their identity and so forth. So if anyone could assist Councilman Tunis by helping to be at the table, that would be excellent.
There, the Upper Darby Senior Walking Center will also be there also. So the Township resources, health partners, and some state resources.
What date?
Tomorrow. So we wait.
Does anyone else from the committee have anything else to add? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Just briefly, I just want to clarify, recently at the International Fest, there were multiple members of council who were on the planning committee, a separate council member who served as the MC for the event, and council was given a 20-minute time slot on the stage, and all council members were asked the various ways in which they would be able to and or like to participate in the event. So just for clarity on how that all went down.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
We had a 20-minute time slot.
The email was.
Well, no, I mean, it was great. We took part, I mean, unfortunately, our table was as far away from the stage as possible. So I know I missed a couple things by being at our table, but no, I think, okay, I just didn't realize that.
Thank you, CAO. Anyone else from the administration?
Well, sure. I mean, if we're going to do this, the table was right next to the library's table and also next to the Xfinity van, who was the main sponsor of the event. So I guess it was whatever that's.
It's just hard to take part on the stage if you can't even see it. That's all. Just an observation.
Anyone else from council? Administration? I think that concludes our report. Thank you so much.
Next up, solicitors, take it away.
So I'll give an update on one issue I know that was brought up at the last council meeting, that's St. Eugene's. Again, the agreement of sale has been forwarded to Mr. McLean about 2 weeks ago. John Walco, who helped direct that agreement from my firm, followed up with him a couple of times. I know I also asked the CAO and the mayor to reach out to Father McDermott, and I believe that has happened as well. So hopefully we will have resolution to St. Eugene's agreement of sale sooner than later. Spoke to Councilwoman Ferralia before the meeting. She's also going to follow up. So we're trying to get this done with multiple avenues. Other than that, I know it's been a late night. So unless if council members have any questions as to what my office has been doing, I'll let you go on with the rest of the event.
Great. Anyone have any questions or concerns for solicitors? Seeing none, moving on. Old business? Anyone have any old business?
Yeah, just real quick.
CAO?
Thank you, Madam President. Councilwoman Blackwell, I just wanted to let you know that the resident who you mentioned earlier, whose car was towed, Public Works did reach out to them today, and we're not able to make contact, but they are trying to correct the situation, and they did actually reach out earlier today. So if you happen to have contact with them, please let them know that Public Works is trying to contact them.
Great, great. I met with her twice.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other old business?
I'm not sure if this is old or not, but I just want to report that on September the 28th, Councilman Glenn and I, we met with 206 kids at the St. Mark's School as a meet and greet. It was a very nice event. I would like to thank Senator Kearney's office, Zagat Foundation, and the Lord Children's Foundation, as well as the Foundation for Delaware County. They gave us some gifts, as well as Health Partners gave you some gifts, but they came later. So I'm wondering if I can give those gifts. Are you doing your event on October the 14th for Movie Night? Or
Yes, yes, there's
So
going to be a.
I would like to give you those gifts that came later.
For us to do that at our table.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so that's one thing. And then thank the Fire Chief Sawyer, as well as Wawa and members of council for the event that was held on October the 1st, and also the mayor. It was a wonderful event. Thank you. CAO, we appreciate it. It was really, really nice. The food was good. As a matter of fact, it was interesting because the Wawa guy, he lives right in back of me, and you could smell everything afterwards. Also the job fair. Thank you, Councilman Phillips, as well as Silva, President Wentz. And students, we did a wonderful job. Thank you all for your help and participation, and everybody else. We were looking forward to seeing you next time and getting some input and some employers. And also we need help when spreading the word, because some people perhaps in Upper Darby seem to be either independently wealthy, but we didn't get a large turnout of people. It was still a wonderful, wonderful event. I don't know if it was the weather because people thought it was the rain, or it was because of where we had the event, but it was still a good event. Also on, in November, I am going to be hosting a senior dinner for Thanksgiving, and I'm going to be hosting that with the men of faith as well. So I'll send you guys an invitation regarding that. Any questions?
Anyone have any other old business? Okay, seeing none, new business? CAO?
Thank you, Madam President. I apologize if possible. I should have mentioned this during major services or the events committee, but I did just want to mention in your packets tonight, you have a flyer for a program being run by the Upper Darby Senior Center in Penn Pines Park. It's part of the mayor's commitment to provide senior programming throughout the township. It is a social pumpkin painting event in Penn Pines Park, Wednesday, October 13th, with a rain date of Friday, October 15th, 10 a.m. To 1 p.m. and lunch will be served at that event. You have got a flyer in there.
Thank you. We actually, I snagged flyers from the senior center at the senior expo, and we were handing it out at our table. They left early, so we had it, and we were handing it out for them, as well as at the international festival. So we're making sure people know about it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yep, and I will post that on their Penn Pine Center website. Post that on.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Great. Anyone else have any old business? Being none. For real, city, councilman, city?
I'm just making a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I was just gonna say, can I get a motion to adjourn? There it is. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Awesome. And 9:10, yes, you have to sign.
9:10? No, it's not.
Create the